man, the streets ain't talking about you, man. If I can't spin a block and find out about you, man, the people ain't about you, man. That's just what it is, you know?
But I got you.
Talk about it. The streets, man.
Yeah, this one's for the streets first. Stripes like a referee shirt. This one's for the streets first.
It's your boy Butta, and I'm back with another episode of that Streets First Podcast. You already know how your boy do. I goes out and I brings them out. Streets First is powered by On Our Block. On Our Block is a community banking app that's trying to help dreamers build wealth from scratch. Check out the app, you know what I mean? Sign up on onourblock.com, you know what I mean? Today, I'm in Long Island world, you know what I mean? I'm chilling. I had to pull up on my guy, you know what I'm saying? McDonald's All-American, all right? NCAA champion, 3-time NBA champion on 3 different teams. My guy, family, Danny Green.
All day.
What's good,
man.
brother? You good?
Always, man.
How you feeling?
Feeling good. Just trying to stay young. Body's good, man. Everything's good. It's a lovely day out here in New York. You don't get many of these, right?
That's what's up. We don't get a lot of these.
Yeah.
You already know how that feel, man.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, man, I like to start the show off with, you know, I know that you've done a lot, you know what I'm saying, coming up. Let's kind of like take them back a little bit, you know what I mean? Where did Danny start learning basketball at? Where did Danny put the basketball? Who put the basketball in Danny's
My pops.
hand?
My
Okay.
pops. He here
Shout out to
somewhere.
him.
Yeah,
Shout
shout out
out.
to Pops. He
Word.
probably at a really young age. He was a basketball fan
Okay.
since I can remember. He grew up watching everybody. So since I was about 2 years old, we had the Fisher-Price rims. But I started playing like Little League, youth, like leagues, basketball around 5.
Okay.
So that's when they had like age groups. Like you could play 6 and 7 year olds, 7 and 8. So I was 5 playing with the 6 and 7 year olds. And that's, you know, town over. I was in North Babylon. I grew up in North Babylon, New York.
Okay.
It's not far from here. Grew up little leagues doing that. And then ultimately, as I got older, he knew, you know, you got to get some toughness in you somewhere. So we got to bring you to Queens. We got to bring you to the Bronx. We got to bring you to Brooklyn. So I grew up playing with the Panthers. I know y'all Gauchos.
Shout out to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Gauchos.
Yeah, so rivalry, we had the Panthers. So I grew up with the Panthers. Probably middle school I started going there.
Okay.
Coach Cat, Craig Keys,
Hold
put us through the ringer of learning how to be, you know, a grinded out type of play, like a New York guard, you know, trying to do a little bit of everything. But learn what it takes to survive the New York street. Back then it was a lot different, the boroughs.
A lot different.
So grew up playing with him, and then ultimately Gary Charles playing for the Long Island Panthers as I got older. But it started all right here, man, in this backyard here, and
Now,
my brothers.
I was about to say, there's a lot of y'all in y'all family, your older brother, your younger brother, your cousins. Like, I don't really want to know, like, who's the best in the family, but what is it like living in a family where everyone is so, you know, indulged and devoted to basketball?
It was great, man. It made it easy, you know, because
Okay.
my uncles, they all played all sports. I learned how to throw football from my uncle. I learned how to play certain parts of basketball. My dad, my other uncle taught me how to block shots. Like, they all had different strengths. And I learned from being around them and their friends. And we had a chance to push each other, like my older cousins and my younger, so I'm the oldest out of all of my brothers.
That's right.
But we close in age, me and my brother right underneath me, we're 10.5 months apart. So we would just play together all day.
Wow.
And they would push me and his friends. We, you know, competitive. You know how it was. We'd be out in the streets
what
until
it's
street
about.
lights came on. It wasn't iPads and computers and barely, you know, TVs. We was playing in the parks until street lights came on, and you would go home. So I'm just playing in the neighborhood every day, playing with my brothers, my uncles, my dads, and learning the game. Also, like, learning how to some of them refereed, so learning the rules. You know, playing in older leagues, I was a ringer because it's like 40 and over league. But when I was in high school, I would sneak into the 40 and over leagues and play with the grown men, which I wasn't allowed to do. But they let me play, so I got a chance to, you know, see what it was like to play with grown men. But a lot of those things helped. Playing up, and so when I was younger, always playing with the older kids, it pushed you. And the best way to learn is to get your ass bust, right?
That's
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So that's how I learned throughout, you know, Long Island, and of course going into different boroughs in New York.
That was something I wanted to ask you. You know, me, you know, shout out to Joakim Noah. We all played together. Shout out to Tony Rosa.
Yeah.
Back then in the Rucker. Like, if you don't mind telling the listeners what it was like for you, you know, coming as a kid from Long Island, growing up playing with the Panthers, but then, you know, coming to play in that scenery at that time at the Rucker. What was that like for you?
It was exciting, man, because I always heard about it. I grew up watching it, learning about it. just be able to get a chance to get an opportunity to put on a team. Shout out to Tony Rosa for giving me the opportunity. But growing up, coming from Long Island and people knowing you from Long Island, you were labeled as soft. You know what I'm saying? You can't really handle it. So you had to have a chip in your shoulder, had to prove yourself everywhere you went. From in Queens, in Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, everywhere you went, you had to show I'm not a soft Long Island kid. So you had to really earn your stripes. But that was anybody, anywhere, in every borough. There's always battles throughout everything. You had the Kenny Smith tournaments, you had Marbury tournaments, you had everybody had a tournament, and you go to these tournaments and you have to prove yourself and bring IS8, bring your name, not your, bring your game, not your name, that type of thing. So, and they give you a name if you were good enough. So you had to prove yourself, man. But ultimately, when I got the opportunity coming back from school to go play in the Kingdom and Rucker, it was these are the tournaments I heard about and watched growing up. And back then, it's there was no social media, so you didn't get to see everything firsthand on your phone. You only read newspapers and hear about.
You can hear about it.
Alimo or so-and-so is he had so-and-so had 40, he was killing. You just hear about these legends. Oh, they go Jim Jones pulling up. Even Harlem, and Harlem was popping back then. So just seeing the streets how it was, and hearing about it and seeing it on TV and actually being able to be a part of it and playing it, it was just an exciting time, a surreal moment, and kind of just brought everything to life for me.
When you look at games like that, look at experiences like that, your fourth year in North Carolina, you won the NCAA championship. I'm just curious, what did those environments set you up for in college?
If I could play in a Rucker, bro, I could play anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can play in New York. The crowds in New York.
Facts.
You know how they be on the mic. They going if you're not playing well, they're gonna dish you. They're gonna get on you. So
very tough.
You got to be able to handle that. If you can't handle that, and Carolina said big crowds in NBA, and now said I guess the internet is probably part of it. So if you can handle New York now, you can handle the internet. But I guess that's the only comparison I can give is the internet now, how people see themselves is how New York courts fans would be. They'd be on your head. If you think, get him out of here, why is he on the court? If you turn the ball over, you shoot a bad shot, they're gonna call you out for shooting an air ball.
They on you.
And that's just how it was. And you gotta be able to take that. Yeah, I learned a lot, man. It prepared me for that. It made it easy, especially playing for Coach Cluse when I went to St. Mary's. He was a perfectionist. And just going through his practice every day, I could play for anybody. Coach Roy Williams, he wasn't easy, but playing for Cluse, I could, said prepared for me for Coach Williams and prepared me for Pop. Those guys were not easy to play for, but ultimately growing up in New York and playing in these environments, the reason why I'm back here now is tomorrow we actually have a Hall of Fame event. So I'm getting inducted to the Long Island Hall of Fame, and a lot of it is credited.
My boy.
Appreciate you. A lot of it is credited to the people that I grew up with in Long Island, my coaches, my friends, my teammates, and the city. You know what I'm saying? The people of the streets that raised me, like you guys, bringing me in and be able to take my career from New York to other places. So yeah, man, New York has prepared me for all facets of life, not just basketball.
Facts.
You can take that criticism in your face straight on, you can handle any job, anybody at work, or any type of coaching or any type of boss.
When you got drafted into the league, it was Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was my rookie year. I was drafted by Cleveland.
And they waived you,
after my first year. So I was with Shaq and Bron and them. They had Delonte West,
'cause you was
Anthony
there.
Parker, Jamario Moon. We had Andy Varejao. We had a good group. It was fun, man. Antoine Jameson came later. We had a great group. I learned I was a sponge, ultimately, because I didn't play much.
Okay.
But after that year, Bron left to Miami, made a decision.
Yes.
And then a lot of things changed in the front office. And then I did preseason with them. Byron Scott, one of the hardest preseasons I've ever done. And then they cut me after. Wish you would have cut me before preseason, because I did all that this to just
the business.
But got in shape, but you got in shape, the best shape of my life, and then they cut you. But yeah, it was disappointing, but a great life lesson that kept me, hungry.
Because I was about to say, you shifted from that to going to the Spurs, and now playing with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili. I mean, knowing that you were a sponge and all of the things that you learned from, what was that shift for you to know that you put that work in, now you're going to this new team?
Just the mindset of never being comfortable.
Okay.
The mindset of respecting it and always, knowing, working for it, knowing somebody was coming for your job and it could change like that in an instant. How to be a professional. Just the little things, man, and instead not taking it for granted mostly. So once that shift happened, I had to continue to work, and everything is timing. So I found the right team at the right time when I got to San Antonio, and it just fit. People worry about the draft and where you go and what team, how high. None of that really matters. At the end of the day, it's really who you are and where you fit, and can you fit there at the right time. Because there's a lot of great players that probably would be better. They would have been better in this game or this era, or have been better and guys in this era would probably been better in a different era. You know what I'm saying? If you grew up in the wrong time, your playing style, it just may cost you, a different type of career. So I've been lucky that I was in the right time, in the right era, and I got a chance to play a little bit of both eras, from some of the old school guys and then kind of into the new school. So I wouldn't change it for the world. Only thing that I would change is that I would have wished the contracts they get now would have been from the jump. They're getting paid, but
big difference,
deservingly
right?
so, man. They're making a lot of money, and you got to credit the guys before us. I understand why the old guys are a little upset, but it's thanks to them why these guys are getting these contracts, why I got the contracts that I've gotten.
That's right.
They've paved the way. So we pay homage all the time, and obviously they look at the game. It's not the same as what they once was or what they saw. It's not as physical as it used to be, so it's hard for them to watch sometimes, or they can easily critique it. So I get it, but in the same breath, the game is just growing. It's getting better. It's become, like worldwide. Other countries, you're seeing a lot of people from China, people from India. Like it's a big passion all over the world now. So it's just growing, man, and you got to love it. And the kids are way more skilled than what we were now. Like in high school, they're doing step backs and Euro steps. We didn't have that bag. And you just naturally see how the game is growing everywhere.
That is true. Looking and knowing that, like I said, you had a Ginobili and you seeing what guys are doing with the Euro, et cetera, you wind up going from, let's just say from there, and then you wind up playing, you winning another championship in Toronto. Like you and Leonard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like outside of the U.S., like, how was that for you, staying outside of the U.S., staying in, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Toronto is crazy. You don't feel like you're outside of it because it's like a cleaner New York with nicer people. You feel like you just
you guys need to hear this.
But it's one of the best cities. I would say most NBA guys would say it's their top 3 favorite cities to visit and go to. But the little things do make it different. Like they have a different Netflix, they have different money, they have a different banking, like just different systems. They do everything Celsius, kilometers, like the small things. The metric system is different. So that reminds you of it, and then going through customs every day, every game, or to travel everywhere you go. But outside of that, I felt like I was in the States. It didn't feel much different, and they always showed a lot of love, and it was an unbelievable experience, man. And it's a place that I'm glad that I can call home because they welcomed me like that because we won a championship there, and I try to get back as much as I can because I just love the city, I love the people. The people always show us a lot of love, and that's just everywhere. Even
that's
San Antonio,
something that you do give back, boy.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to give to where people give to you. You know what I'm saying? You always got to touch the community, touch the streets, or the people that helped you along the way.
So I don't want to say I know what was Danny's feeling like winning the first championship. Then what is Danny's feeling like winning the second? But there's not too many players, if I'm not mistaken. There's only like 3 players that might have ever played, that has played on 3 different teams and won 3 different championships. So with you being one of them, I'm just curious, like, your last championship was with LeBron. I mean, he is looked at as this era's best player in the world.
Yeah.
What was that like coming in, knowing that you were the veteran, you have 2 championships, you being a part of that, like, just out of curiosity for that 3rd chip, what was Danny's?
Each one was so different. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I know you're not asking about each one, but like I like to compare people. Like, what's your favorite one? It's like it's hard to say what's your favorite
That's
child.
why I want to ask you.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have 3 kids.
I'm
like
a ball player. You don't ask that question.
I'm not gonna pick. This is my favorite child. Each
Exactly.
experience, each birth was a different experience. So the first one is like we won. We had lost the previous year, and we won. It was like finally. You know what I'm saying? We got it done. But because we had such a hard year, when we lost to them, the way we lost them was so tough. Pop was on us all year, and we got it done. It was just a relief that we got it done. We celebrated. It was a lot of fun. The second one, that was probably more exciting, doing it in another country that had never experienced it and have a lot of fun, and just nobody really expected us to. With Bron, I think it was just everybody expected us to win.
Okay.
And the experience was just really rough because mentally, emotionally, being in a space during COVID where it's the only thing everybody's watching, the bubble, even though it was really nice, no matter how nice you make something, you're in it for 100 days and can't leave it, it's going to be tough on you mentally. Like the walls are going to start
Okay.
closing in. So it was great. We didn't get a chance to celebrate. We didn't get a parade.
I was about to say, okay.
Also, so we weren't the underdogs. We were just better than everybody was expected. So there was a lot of pressure on us. So it was also a relief. It was a relief that we finally got it done, and also we got through the bubble. It's like, all right, we can go home. So it was just like, the first one was exciting and a relief, but the last one was more relief than anything. It was like, we did what we were supposed to do. We're finally, it's job's done, it's over. Let's get the hell home. You know what I'm saying? It was that type of feeling. But they said it wasn't easy. It was a lot of fun. It was a bonding experience with everybody, not just my teammates, but everybody throughout the league being in that space. So the fraternity, I think, got stronger, especially during the times where, you know, we had George Floyd thing going on. We had a lot of movements and the Black Lives Matter movements, and we had to stand up for something and actually show what we stood for, and told the world and the league we need some changes. We need to open the voting polls in different, you know, arenas so people can vote. So we used our platforms and our voice to try to make a change in the world, and I think we did, and we're trying to continue to do that.
Now, when I sit here and me being one of somebody that's close to you, cool with you, and knowing that these are the kind of things that I can see that you're doing, I wanted to make sure that I came and put a spotlight on a lot of that stuff. Being that you have, you know, traveled the world, played with different teams, you know, you kind of like ended with Philly, and I don't know, you know, as your boy, I don't know, I'll let you speak on it.
sure.
I don't know if that's the ending of Danny. This is why I'm asking you, you know, I know that you don't really leave off of injuries, you know, how do you look at Danny and where his career is at right now?
I'm not sure if I'm ready to turn the page yet and move on to the next chapter. It's a discussion, but ultimately I tore my knee about 2 years now ago. ACL, LCL, hamstring, IT band, a little bit of everything was torn in there.
Those are major right there, but go ahead.
It was basically a car crash, most people would compare it to, like that type of accident.
Okay.
So it took a lot of rehab to, you know, took a lot of reconstruction first and rehab to get back, but luckily I had some great PTs. I got back in 8 months. But I wasn't able to play like a full season with it, and that's kind of like some unfinished business for me.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna get that opportunity this year. I had a really good training camp with Philly. It went well.
Okay.
Only didn't prove to them, but it proved to myself, like, I can still, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I can still do this. I still belong here. It's not time to hang it up yet. And you know, I'm not opposed to playing other places. You know what I'm saying? Like, ultimately, you only could play but so many years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe till you're 40 if you're lucky. I can do media or coaching at any point. I can do other things. And a lot of guys aren't prepared for that next chapter yet. I think I am prepared. I'm dabbling in the media. I do some stuff with ESPN, do some stuff with Turner. I've done some stuff with Yahoo. So it's been great to be able to be a freelance and dabble in each one of those. But, you know, it's a decision I have to talk with the wife. We got a little one now.
That's right.
Does it make sense for us to, you know, keep at this? If we can get some guarantee, cool. Should we, you know, go into a nice country and try to play in Spain or France or something like that? Maybe. Or is media often a really good deal where you can just stay at home and just travel to do media? We weigh all options and figure it out. But ultimately, I still want to play, and I don't want that to be, you know, the story, the end of Danny Green's basketball career anyway, because there's still a lot left of other careers that I could do. But after doing all that rehab, you know, I feel like I have at least another year or two left to give.
And I was about to say, as the veteran that I seen that you were, you know, you a lot of teams can always use a leader, can always use a shooter, can use someone
I like
in
to
that
think
locker
so.
room.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
like to think so, but when you're old, man, the league they like to go younger. They kind of forget about you. It's like, you know, they move on. So you got to find ways to try to remind them that you can still help a group. So we'll see, man. We'll see what the table brings.
I would love to speak a little bit on the Rock Nation, Puma, you know what I mean, Path Water. There's a lot of different things that, you know what I mean, we're not talking about life after basketball, but these are things that I know that you kind of like always been business-wise involved in. You know what I mean? Can you speak a little bit on like a lot of your business ventures, your nonprofits, things of that nature?
Got a little bit of everything going on. I can't take credit for it. I have a lot of good people around me. Like you have your group here. These guys are good people, and they put you in right positions. So, you know, the first one we started off with was the Team Green camps. I started that my rookie year. So we've been doing that, you know, as a brand and building, also giving back to community, giving some of my friends and family jobs where they'll work the camp. And, you know, playing it, we do it. We've done it in my hometown. I've done it in St. Mary's. And we've been doing it about 15 years now, 15, 16 years. But we've tapped into a lot of things. We do like adopted spots, clean up stuff, do some venture capitalist stuff. I have some good groups with that, do a lot of different investments. invest in some real estate, some apartment buildings, trying to build some different things. Ultimately, man, the goal for me, and it's not because just the money, but to be a billionaire. It's not for the money or the status, but it's for the opportunity to allow everybody else around me to grow. When you get that status, everything you touch becomes gold, or you can make it gold. Kind of like what Bron does. Everybody follows Bron. He's inspired so many to get the Promise School. Like, now I can build a school. I can have everybody else around me. I can, build this for that person without even thinking about it. When you're a millionaire, 100 millionaire, it's still a lot of money, but you still have to think about it and say yes and no, because some of these things affect your life. You still have 40 to 50 years left to live, where you have little ones you have to take care of. You still have to make decisions of, like, is this a smart investment or not? When you're a billionaire, you can give away 500 million and still be all right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That
So
makes
that's
sense.
the goal, to be like, all right, most billionaires don't need to be billionaires. When I become a billionaire, I don't want to stay a billionaire, but get there to where I can give away enough money to where I leave my impact all over the world with places I call home. San Antonio, Toronto, LA, obviously here in New York, Chapel Hill, but all the people that I come across, and that has helped me along the way.
When you speak about, billionaire status, things of that nature, is there a little bit advice that you could give, like some of the up and coming, guys that is now kind of like touching a lot of money, and I'm quite sure that you can see that, a lot of us, like I said, haven't been, educated on how to, look at the money that we're around. Is there like things that you've seen as you were, growing up and being able to have different contracts? Are there like advices that you could give back to some of these kids? This is
what we do every year. We have the rookie transition program. We try to talk to rookies. Ultimately, guys going to be who they are when they get a lot of money. Some of them will be impacted differently depending on the veterans in their locker rooms, their coaches, and their families, their foundation. I was lucky enough to be built or have a good group. My family, also at St. Mary's, Carolina, San Antonio, to how to be a professional and just how to, everything in moderation type of mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy your fruits, but you got to be disciplined too if you're trying to reach certain goals.
Wow.
And I think a lot of guys, they realize it, but even the guys that are disciplined still don't realize how different it is when the ball stops bouncing. And it's like that next job. It's like, and now I'm starting to see it now because, like, I'm in and out of playing. And I already knew, but I was kind of prepared for more than most, probably 90% of guys. But that next check after basketball is gonna be way different than your basketball check. And it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I gotta figure out, and you probably have money saved, but it's like, you want that money to keep growing. You want to build generational wealth. You want that for your kids and your grandkids, right? So you don't want to have to keep tapping into that. So now you got to figure out what's the next job that can cover the bills to make it last, or even, more so, exceed those bills. So I would say the goal is to be disciplined to where you never have your bills go too high, because there's gonna be times you're gonna have a small contract. When you get the more you make, the more you spend. When you get your bigger contracts, try to keep the bills the same as what they were when you had your small contracts. Because when they get bigger, it's hard to go back to that old lifestyle. When they come smaller again, it's like, now your bills are still $1, $2 million a year. And it's like, you're not only making this much. If you keep them at, 500,000, 800,000, whatever it is, it's way easier to sustain it. Then when you, later in life, you can easily have more fun and more leeway to do investments or building schools or traveling differently. So just the more disciplined you are and everything in moderation, it'll help make your life easier if you're organized.
Now, I know that this is new to you, but fatherhood, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you just had a baby, you've gotten married. I've known that you've been in the league for a long time. I look at you as a great role model and leader, the way that you are as a person and how you carry yourself and the things that you do. I would love to hear how, you maintain all of that. Like, I know it's new to you, but, give a little bit of what is it like, as a fatherhood and knowing that I got 3 girls, so I would love to hear from you.
For sure, man. I mean, so nobody can tell you the feeling when you have your first one, like what it's like. You have to experience it yourself. So it's not easy. It's hectic. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. It's beautiful, man. It's a lot of fun, especially if you always wanted kids. I always wanted kids. Some people want their legacy to live on, and that's how you let That's how you keep your legacy alive, is with your kids.
That's what's up.
And I always said I always want to give back. I've always been dealing with kids since camps. But you know, first couple months are hectic, but it's a lot of fun, man. He's amazing. You know, the wife makes it easier. We have some help. It does take a village, but you know, balancing it out, man, is no different than, you know, basketball prepared me for that. You know, no different than balancing bills, traveling road, all those things. It's the same, you know, with the household. And the hardest thing you ever do is a relationship, being married, because it's nonstop work. You got to continue to work at it every day. And then of course the family, you got to make time for so you got to make time for her, you got to make time for him. So, and as long as you have your priorities in order and people know those priorities and boundaries and you set those with everybody, people respect it and it'll make things easier. But ultimately, as you get older, you keep the right people around you need. Usually your circle gets tighter and smarter. You know, you don't want to have a big entourage or posse where you know it's too much handling, but keep the people around you that make your life easier, that help you, you know, maintain that village, not only for your little one, but for you. So it takes a village to raise a child, but also takes a village to keep a family together.
That's what's up, man. We getting towards the end now. Don't think I wasn't gonna ask you about inside the green room.
Of course,
now.
of course.
I know it's been a little second, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious for the people. I know you on Streets First. Is what's up with inside the green room?
We actually about to shoot a pod today.
Huh?
Yeah, right after we're done here. We've been doing it, and not as frequent as we'd like. So, and it's different. You know, I think as a player, you see the guys that retire, they have more free-spirited. They could talk more about more things, and they could talk more freely. They're not sharing a locker room with guys. They can criticize referees or organizations without getting fined or in trouble. So I think, you know, once I'm done, it'll be easier to just, I'm still myself, but it could be more of myself and bring on different topics. But it's still going strong. You know, we do stuff with Odyssey, which I did before we started this. I did radio hits with them. We do a lot of different, we tap in a lot of different fields. We had a great one, and when we did in Toronto, it built up great. We had a studio in LA with Spectrum, was great. In Philly, we did some stuff with NBC Sports Philadelphia. Like, we do it with local when I'm with a team.
Okay.
Right now we're doing Odyssey, and it's going good, man. We talk about the playoffs, talk about sports and things that's going on. And right now, outside of the playoffs and NBA, it's the WNBA. You know, we got to build them up.
Exactly.
So we don't even have to, they're building themselves up. Caitlin Clark is building them up. She's done an amazing job. Watched her hoop last night. For like, I wouldn't say the first time, but in WNBA, like a full game. I usually see some highlights, but she can hoop, man, and she just needs the right pieces around her. Her, you know, Angel Reese,
you know,
shout out to Cameron Brink, she's doing it too, like, and she's making it look, they're making it look good. So we're getting the viewership they deserve, and we're trying to do our best to not only build our league up, but build their league up and everything else around it. So, you know, that's part of the podcast, is bringing certain things to light, keeping our voice. And also, you know, letting people know our experiences and thoughts. And I think a big part of that also, when I do these TNT, TV, ESPN stuff, I can speak more freely on my podcast and give other insight to my basketball knowledge or lack thereof to people to see. And, you know, randomly, you know, some people have reached out to, you know, you looking into coaching, you know, just because they see, you know, how I think the game. So it's great, man. You know,
are you looking into coaching?
Nah, not right now.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like,
I always said never, and Doc was the first one. Was like, just because you say never, I know you're definitely gonna coach.
Wow.
I'm too close to it right now. To me, it just seems just as stressful, if not more stressful, as playing days. And I don't. When I'm done playing, I don't want to have to manage egos or guys like myself in a locker room, have to deal with that, or have my career be predicated on how someone else performs. It's a lot. I see a lot of guys go bald, or gray hairs,
Lots
they
of
lose
grays.
it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my hair, I can still be around the game, talk media, and not be blamed for anything. I don't need credit for it or be blamed for it, and still be around the game, man, and have a passion for it, and also have more time for the kids. I feel like, you know, that's ultimately my main goals, is raising my legacy to be better than, you know, me and us, and, you know, keep the family name living on strong.
If there was, you know, one last question I could ask you, you know, what does financial literacy mean to you?
That's a great question, man, because it's different for different people.
Exactly.
Ultimately, I talked about generational wealth. Financial literacy to me, there's different levels to it, but I think the basic level is where people need to start with and understand most, and that's just how to manage your life and your lifestyle, and where you're not affected by others around you or people, especially people in our position. not letting other people's decisions or other people's asks or you trying to be, everybody has a big heart. You can't say yes to everyone. You got to say no. But financial literacy is just understanding what it takes to cover food, cover water, gas, bills, a family, learn how to do your own bills and laundry. Also watch your money, see where it goes, where's the right places to invest in them. That comes later, that's the second tier. But ultimately, first is learning how to make money, how to save it. There's always gonna be rainy days, a tire's gonna go flat, something's gonna happen, where you're gonna need some money. And then said later on, learning to invest in it. So taking step-by-step process of just how to handle your lifestyle. And so people say life is short. It ain't that short. For most of us don't live 80, 90 years, it's a long ass life. So if you seeing the bigger picture and learning what it takes to live 80, 90 years, prepare for that. Prepare for living 80, 90 years instead of just for tomorrow, because we don't know if tomorrow's promised. And some, tragically, lives get cut short. But life is a long life, man. You got to figure out a way to make with your lifestyle and living comfortable and to, in moderation, live it.
So with financial literacy, it's a great thing for me to be able to sit down and have conversations with my peers that I've watched, go from the different ups and downs and trials that they've been through, but to be able to make financial wealth. But not only that, but to inspire people on how they're living to maintain it. And I think that that's very important, for me to have these conversations with y'all, because I feel like, we are the leaders now, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think that a lot of people, without telling their story, and you really can help people see how they can create their story. So I wanted to take the time out to pull up on you, because I know that you got a great story.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, everybody, and I think the biggest thing is having these conversations often, right? And that's just because it helps build our community. The people that look like us, that come from where we come from. And no matter what I've been through, what level of success I've been through, I can still learn from my friends who are going through different things. My friend's, his child situation, or his birth of his child and going through with his wife and moving into a new crib is different, and ultimately that comes into the government and how people are voting and who they're looking at and why they certain policies and why we need us to speak out and vote for certain people, or help use our voice to push a political person, or have a certain person in office to help change our community to better, not just for us but our families, because they're not living the same. Not everybody's living the same as us.
That's true.
But if we want our families and friends to live comfortably too, we got to make sure we understand where they're coming from, how they're living, the experiences they go through. And you said some of them, and some conversations are tough. You got to have the tough conversations. You have to have the easy ones, the good ones, but ultimately the important ones of learning each other's lives, because you can learn something every day from the people around you. And that's why you got to surround yourself with people that are doing something or similar things.
That's key, y'all. And I say that to say, iron sharpens iron.
100%.
Thank you, brother, man. I appreciate you, Danny. Hey, man, tell them where they can follow you at, bro.
Oh, man, I'm Green Ranger 14 on Instagram. On Twitter, the dgreen_14. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. It's a podcast. You can find them on all platforms. So I'm a little bit everywhere. I don't know what networks. I've been stuff with TNT, some stuff with ESPN. But ultimately, you can find me anywhere, man. I'm all over the place.
Hey, man, y'all know y'all can follow me. Instagram, Streets First Podcast. Make sure y'all check out the YouTube, Streets First Podcast. You know what I'm saying? On our block, powered by them, baby. Check them out. Sign up on ourblock.com. You know what I mean? It's your boy Butta. I'm back outside. I got many more to go. I'm pulling up. I'm bringing all of this good talk to you to make sure that you guys can feel inspired and motivated to continue to dream, to build your own wealth from scratch. We all could do it, baby. I holla.